All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's session on the webinar hosted by Prevention Plus Wellness, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. Actually, that's a shot from the Bay of St. Augustine. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's the oldest European, continuously inhabited European settlement in the US. It was a year or two before Jamestown. And the Spanish actually came ashore here in St. Augustine back in 1565. Really cool, historic town to visit if you haven't been here. So come on over and see me. Maybe we could have a coffee or lunch together sometime. So my name is Dr. Chudley Wirch, and I'm president and founder at Prevention Plus Wellness. And today's topic is one session evidence-based sport and InShape alcohol drug prevention plus wellness programs and training. So today's session is being recorded. I'll send you the link to the recording, which you're welcome to share with others. I'll also send everyone a certificate for 1 hour CEU spending time with us today. Now, to help me tailor today's session to your interests, let's start with a poll. So it's really important for you to respond to these four very brief questions, because your responses will determine what we focus on during today's webinar. So you will probably need to scroll down to see all four questions. The first, which prevention plus wellness programs are you most interested in learning about? The second question, how do you prefer to implement prevention programs? Thirdly, how long do you prefer your prevention program to be, your prevention programs to be? And lastly, what types of prevention program training do you prefer? So take a moment and answer those four questions. I think 3 out of the 4, you could actually answer more than one response. I think one question, I think you may have to answer just one response. So do please answer, so because your answers will determine what we focus on during today's webinar. So I want to meet everyone's needs. So please do participate if you have an opportunity to in this poll. It is very brief 4-question poll. So let's just wait for a moment, let everyone have a chance to participate that is online with us. Obviously, if you've just called in, you can't participate. So I'm sorry about that, but I will try to cover everybody's interests and needs. Remember, if you have a question anytime throughout today's session, you can go to the chat option on your toolbar and type in your question, and we'll address that at the end of today's session. So please don't hesitate to make comments, to ask questions. This is your 1 hour session, so let's make sure that it's of interest to you and it's useful to you. So let's just wait another minute. We're up to 73% have voted so far. Let's get that up to 80% if we can. We want to make sure everybody's had a chance to respond so that we can tailor today's webinar to your needs, to your interests, what you want us to cover today. So just another 15 more seconds, give everybody a chance to participate. We're up to 80%. That's awesome. 8 out of 10 of you have responded. So I'm going to end the polling now. And I'm going to share the results to you. It may take a moment to get to you, but I'll read the responses in case you can't see them. Question number 1, which prevention plus wellness program are you most interested in learning about? And the question and the response, most of you responded, 83%, the SPORT PPW program for middle school. So we'll look at that. You're also interested in all the other programs, sport for high school, sport for elementary school, and there was even some of you interested in InShape, prevention plus wellnesses for young adults, which, by the way, is being implemented in colleges, communities, and even the US military. So we'll focus primarily on sport. I'll talk about the similarities and differences across the 3 types of sport, even a little bit about InShape. Question 2, how do you prefer to implement your program? Most of you said to youth in groups, but a good number of you also said individually. and using PowerPoint slides more so than video, and in person more than virtually. Thank goodness we're going back to the in-person implementation. So it's a blessing, certainly, to, after a year and a half or whatever we spent virtually, to actually meet people face to face. So very good that we'll be focusing on that. So groups as well as in person, and with the slides. Question 3, how long do you prefer your prevention program to be? Most of you said 2 to 3 sessions. So you can put together a number of prevention plus wellness programs to have more than one session. Most of our programs are just one session. You could easily extend them to more than that by focusing on just the goal setting. But we have many organizations will implement sport 1 week, and then maybe the vaping or marijuana or opioid PPW program the second week, another the third week. We also have a multi-session sport 2 program, which is 6 sessions. So you've got a lot of options. So, but most of you are interested in 2 or 3 sessions, and that's very doable with any PPW program. Lastly, what types of programs do you prefer? What types of training do you prefer? Online, surprisingly, and in person were tied. Online and in person, and types of training. A lot of you are interested in train the trainer. So let me just say, for us, for prevention plus wellness, how the train the trainer works is you become trained as an implementer, which is 2 hours online or in person. You implement your program once, and then you can come back for a 2-hour online train the trainer. So it's a very efficient training process for those of you that want to become trained as a trainer, so you can train other program implementers in your organization or region. All of that's possible. All right, so let's take a look at, we'll start with the sport middle school program. I'm going to just give me a moment because I've got all these files are open because I didn't know which ones you wanted to focus on today. So we're going to find the sport middle school, and I'm going to open up the program manual for us to look at. And that's just loading right now, so just give it just a minute. And I'll also open up the PowerPoint slides as well. So just give me a minute, just give the computer a minute to open those up. I'm ready to go. It's the technology that's holding us back right now. So let's see here. It looks like everything's open. So let me grab one of these for you to take a look at. Let's start with the manual. So the way most prevention plus wellness programs are offered, for those of you that don't know, are you get an actual physical manual, a spiral binder of the program, and then you get a digital download of all of your reproducible materials, which includes PowerPoint slides. Most of you said you prefer that over a video. By the way, we also have the high school version of sport in a video format. So we've got sport. This is the middle school version. It's a single session screening and brief intervention. It has 8 sections to it. It can be easily expanded to 2 or 3 sessions. Most organizations that do that will either focus just on that third part. Let me just say, first of all PPW programs are evidence-based practices, screening and brief intervention. There's 3 components to that. 1, you screen youth for their current health habits. That increases awareness of their behaviors. 2, you provide feedback on those behaviors, not just alcohol use, which is the primary focus of Sport and InShape, but also these protective wellness behaviors, physical activity, sports, nutrition, and breakfast, sleep, and even stress control. So that's what you're screening them on. That's what you're increasing their awareness of. And then secondly, you're going to provide feedback on each of those behaviors. The underlying conceptual model is the behavior image model, which focuses on positive image communication, image terms like fit, active, healthy, successful are believed to cue unconscious images of themselves in the future being these things. These are highly motivational. Most people want these. We want them for children, young people, and elderly people even want these for ourselves. We want to be fit. We want to be successful. We want to be healthy, happy, etc. And this increases motivation for change. And of course, your communication, your feedback also includes how alcohol and drugs harms these successful wellness behaviors and benefits and images. That's feedback. Screening feedback. Third part is goal setting. It's the action piece, setting goals not just to avoid substance use, but to increase protective wellness behaviors. And this is designed, this is the action piece. This is the motivational piece. This initiates the behavior change. And to the extent that you encourage youth to continue goal setting week after week, that will increase their self-regulation skills to learn to shape their own behaviors by setting goals, monitoring goals, and achieving behavioral goals. So those are the 3 steps. So knowing that, you can see this, the table of contents here. You've got introduction, you've got step-by-step directions for implementation. However, we do have, again, a 2-hour online program implementer training, really important to give you the insights as to how to implement your program with fidelity and maximize efficacy. Third section or chapter includes a screening survey and goal plan, because that's part of the screening and brief intervention, screening, feedback, goal setting. Section 4 and 5 are scripts to provide your feedback to your youth, either individually, that's one-on-one, very tailored, and probably more effective because we do know research shows tailoring a program can increase effectiveness, but also section 5, a group script. And most of you said you prefer to implement your programs in a group setting. This is the most efficient way to implement it because you have, you can implement it to more than one young person at a time. Also, evaluation material, section 6. Section 7, you have an additional intervention in your sport program. This is not an InShape, but in all the 3 versions, the sport, high school, middle school, elementary school. And that is you get a letter that you could send to parents and then 4 weekly flyers. And these can be sent out or handed out to youth individually or emailed or posted on your website. This intervention, this extra optional intervention is designed to get parents and caregivers to provide the same positive image communication that you're providing to their youth, thereby reinforcing those important health messages, those integrated messages integrating prevention with promotion of wellness behaviors. So we even did one evaluation trial of 3 of these 4 flyers, and they were found to be effective in preventing alcohol and marijuana use and increasing parent-youth communication on prevention. So really good extra intervention you get in your sport program. It's the parent flyers. And lastly, you get an online version of the goal plan and contract so that you can assign youth beyond your single session lesson, assign them to continue to set goals week after week, and you could monitor those goals. You can meet with them and focus on goal setting to make sure that the goals are set, that they're measurable, that they're specific, that they're achievable, and that they're having success in those short-term weekly goals that they set. So that's what you can do to extend your program to 2 sessions, to 3 sessions. By the way, we also have on our website a whole bunch of free resources. Go to preventionpluswellness.com, look under resources, and what you'll see is you'll see a bunch of resources which are materials, content that you can use for additional sessions. In addition, lastly, we have Sport 2, which is actually a 6-session intervention. So if you want more content, a lot of organizations will implement Sport, and then they'll implement some or all of Sport 2. And so you could actually have 7 or more sessions if you want with youth. Let's take a look at the content very briefly in this program. By the way, if you want me to email you a redacted sample of the program, all you have to do is email me at info@preventionpluswellness.com. preventionpluswellness.com, info@preventionpluswellness.com. You send me that, say, hey, I'd like to look at a sport, high school, or InShape or whatever program. Any of our programs will send you a sample, e-samples for you to review. Screening survey for sport, high school. There's a question about sports physical activities in the last year, long list, and they can also increase and add chores and other sports and activities. A question about regular sports and physical activities, 30 minutes, 4 or 5 times a day, like running, biking, walking, yes or no. A third question about healthy breakfast and nutrition. What does that mean? Here it is right here: oatmeal, eggs, yogurt, etc. Yes or no. Sleeping 8 or more hours, yes or no. Last question in the middle school version screening survey is what best describes their alcohol use. It's a staging question, a stage of initiation or acquisition, ranging from the least risk, which is A, not tried alcohol, never will, to F, which is I've been drinking the last 6 months. So this is very brief. You can see that the screening surveys usually are 5 to 7 questions, very, very brief, only takes a minute. Remember, this is part of the intervention. This is the first part. This is where you increase youth's awareness of their healthy habits, including alcohol use. Then you will provide feedback. And then lastly, goal setting. What does the goal plan look like? Well, you're going to highlight the fact that to be active, healthy, and look and feel good, we want to recommend, bring that back, sorry. We want to recommend all of these behaviors, starting with course number 5, very important to avoid alcohol, but also these other substances. And we want to encourage all of these other behaviors. Plenty of sleep, eating healthy breakfast and other healthy foods, especially fruits and vegetables, plenty of regular physical activity, and even daily stress control. All those things we want to highlight. We want to have youth pledge to stay away from alcohol and drugs in the next 7 days. Why? And we're going to link it to these very motivational images of active, healthy lifestyle. The middle school version, although the high school doesn't have this, the middle school, elementary school version of SPORT says, or gives an opportunity to identify anybody at home that they could share their goal with. This increases motivation for change. Then young people are going to set a goal to improve or to increase, a wellness goal. They're going to identify it specifically in terms of measurable goal, the frequency, the quantity. They'll be signing it and dating it. They'll have somebody else at home sign it, date it, and you as the instructor will sign it and date it to increase motivation for change. There's also a 7-day monitoring or a calendar chart so that youth can watch their behaviors every day. And then very important, post-communication, post-goal planning communication to instruct them what to do with the goals, to motivate them so that they set these goals. Research shows if they are successful in achieving goals the first 7 days, that predicts long-term goal success. If you implement your, let's go to the groups. Let's go to the group script. So you got 2 scripts. Remember to implement your program in a group or individually. If you implement your program to a group, that's 2 or more, you're going to use the group feedback lesson script. So there it is. You just follow the script. Literally, it's a script. And you practice the script aloud, read the script, show your slides, and it's as simple as that. Everything's laid out, very, very easy to use. We've even trained students or adolescents to implement it to same or younger age peers. No specialized training outside of the 2-hour program implementer training is needed to implement these programs because they are scripted. Within your script, you've got an introduction, you've got directions, which are in parentheses reminding you, hey, if you're going to do a pre-post test to evaluate your program, which is included in all PPW programs, now's the time to implement your pre-test. You show your slide. Script tells you to show your slide. You show your slide. You read your introduction. Hello, for the next several minutes, we'll be talking to you about the SPORT PPW program. This is an exciting new health and fitness program. And together, what we're going to do is look at your actions and how they can make you healthy and keep you healthy. And that's it. It's a very brief introduction. You could extend that if you want. Then you're going to implement your screening survey. This is part of the intervention. There's the script to provide it. You have in your digital download I think it's a Word document of your screening survey. So you just make copies of it so that when you implement it, let's say next week to 20 youth, make 20 copies, 25 copies, you bring them, hand them out, and have youth complete the screening survey as part of the intervention. Your slides will highlight what you're doing, and then you're going to provide feedback. So you're going to provide feedback, and the feedback usually highlights the benefits of that wellness behavior. And these are the wellness behaviors on that screening survey. The first screening survey question is sports physical activities in the last year. So the first slide will highlight the benefits. Here's the script. Wonderful. Sports physical activities is a great way to get regular exercise. They're fun. They help keep you healthy. They help you feel good about yourself, give you lots of energy, and help you do better in school. That's the first slide. That's for the visual learner. We have slides so that people, youth can see the slides as you present the script. They can also see in the illustrations or the pictures representations of themselves. That's why all of our pictures have both genders, different ethnicities, different positive activities. Here you see a young student, a young female in track, running track. That's the highlight. We're highlighting the benefits of that wellness behavior, sports physical activity in the last year. Now here's how alcohol and drugs is a barrier or harms sports and physical activity. Here's your script. However, alcohol and an active life simply don't mix. Using alcohol can hurt your health and affect how well you do in sports and physical activity. That's the two-step messaging, highlighting the benefits and the positive images that result from a wellness behavior, sports and physical activities in the last year, regular sports and physical activities, breakfast and nutrition, sleep, and then how alcohol and drugs interferes. And then you will also get to present some content on alcohol separately or in addition. So for example, let me just show you one more example, providing feedback now following the script, regular physical activity. That's the second item on the screening survey. The benefits of regular physical activity, here it is right here, sports and other physical activities promote a healthy heart and lungs. They also control weight and stress. And however, and there's the second slide, alcohol can cause heart damage and cancer over time, and avoiding alcohol is key to keeping a healthy body. So that's that feedback, that two-step feedback. And then you're going to provide feedback on breakfast and nutrition. You're going to provide feedback on sleep. And then you're going to provide feedback on alcohol. That's the final question in the screening survey. So you provide feedback on each of those behaviors in the screening survey, and then you address all of those in the goal setting. So you can see the screening survey, the feedback, the goal setting, all aligned, all integrating all of these behaviors, alcohol, sports, and physical activities. If in case somebody doesn't do sports, physical activities, moving the body, could be anything fun, anything enjoyable, could be chores, anything. Breakfast and healthy eating in general, especially fruits and vegetables, plenty of sleep, and even stress control. All of those are integrated into this single lesson called Sport Prevention Plus Wellness, or InShape Prevention Plus Wellness. Both Sport and InShape, by the way, are evidence-based programs. That means they've been evaluated. Their positive outcomes that were found were published in refereed scientific journals, And then, and only then, they have been listed on a bunch of evidence-based registries, program registries, like Blueprints for Healthy Youth Development, NRAP, a whole bunch of others. And you could read more about that and the registries on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. So you provide feedback lastly on alcohol use. So here, a little bit more content, because we're addressing things we know research shows associated with the, starting to use alcohol and other drugs, such as alcohol can harm your fitness and health. Alcohol can cause life problems. Most youth do not drink, which is an essential correction of social norms. Youth often overestimate the number of their friends that use substances and approve their use. Healthy alternatives to drinking and drug use, recommendations for increasing your wellness, which I had showed you earlier. And that's the end of the feedback. Here's the last part of that script. To keep healthy, to have more energy, to look and feel good. All of those are image terms. Do better in school sports. Your plan should be to continue to stay away from alcohol and, of course, increase these protective wellness behaviors. And then after that feedback, you go into the goal plan. This is the action phase of the 3-step process: screening, feedback, goal setting. This really initiates and over time maintains behavioral change. You have in parentheses some directions here, some examples you can provide to help you set goals. But the key message is now take out your goal plan and read along, and you read the goal plan and help your youth set goals for themselves. And it's as simple as that. 3-step process: screening, feedback, goal setting. The only difference between the group script and the individual script, if you were to implement this to individual youth one-on-one, the key difference is that when you present feedback, they're going to do a screening survey, same slides you show. So you can actually toggle back between implementing this to one youth, to a group of youth, to one youth. The scripts are there, very simple. The key difference between the group and the individual or one-on-one script is that when you present feedback to that one individual youth, here's your directions. You're going to take the screening survey and you're going to look at how the youth answered each question. And then you're going to read a response based on how they answered a question. So for example, if they said yes, they got physical activity in the last year, you'd read the yes response. It's yes, green, good, go. And the feedback is, oh, I see you do some sports. You could read it off the screening survey. They checked off, they bike and they walked and they shot some basketball. And this is a great way to get regular physical activity. If they checked no, they got no physical activity, you read the no response. Notice it's highlighted in red, risk warning. And here you say, I see that you may not play sports or participate in physical activities. You can really improve your health and how well you feel by being a little bit more active. So notice the feedback. You provide feedback that's positive or neutral, nothing negatives, because you don't want to have any youth tune you out and not listen to you. I give you one more example of how the feedback goes on the individual script. Let's say you're providing feedback on the regular physical activity. If they checked off on their screening survey, yes, they get 30 minutes of physical activity 4 or 5 times a week. You read the yes response, it's green, it's good, it's go. And I see you get regular physical activity. That's great. Okay, so it's just customized. It just recognizes where they're at with their behaviors. If they check no, they're not getting regular physical activity, you read the no response. And you can see, I see that you may not get regular physical activity. To feel better, to have a healthy heart and lungs, you should play sports or do some other type of physical activity. So again, the feedback is positive or it's neutral, nothing negative. So that's the difference between the pre and post, between individual and the group script. What is in those are the 2 scripts, the feedback script. I showed you the screening survey. I showed you the goal plan. I showed you the 2 scripts for implementing this to one youth at a time or a group of youth. Now let's look at the evaluation materials in your manual. You get a pre-test and you've got a post-test, which are identical. And these could be implemented as hard copies, as paper copies, or we also provide links to online versions of these, so you don't even have to enter data by hand. They include measures of perceived, the first measure is behavioral intentions. It's the most highly predictive measure of future behavior. And if you look at it, it's worded next year, how likely are you to? And notice you're not just measuring alcohol, but cigarettes, marijuana, e-cigarettes, and either illegal drugs or opioids, and the 4 wellness behaviors: physical activity, nutrition, sleep, and stress control. So you're really casting a broad net to see, is this program likely to influence future behaviors, both substance use and wellness promoting. And then the second measure is a measure of perceived risk or harmfulness. If you used any of these regularly, would they harm your health or healthy behaviors? Your SPORT, your InShape program directly addresses this. And so notice you're measuring again across 5 substances, not just one. So you'd be able to see if your SPORT program, your InShape program, or any PPW program has an impact on substances other than one. So you really have a good a measure of program efficacy. And the beauty is this is set up to be collected immediately before and after your lesson, so you don't have to follow up with you. So it's very, very efficient and provides you, the prevention specialist, with essential data to promote your program and to improve it over time. In fact, the post-test also has 2 open-ended items. What did they like best? And in the words of youth, you will see that they are going to tell you how well this program influenced their motivation, stay away from substance use, increase their wellness behaviors, increase their goal setting, their motivation, etc. And then what did they like least? We'll give you tips as to how you can improve the program next time you implement it, next quarter, next semester, next year, depending on how often you look at your data and monitor your program. Also in evaluation, we've got an instructor survey that helps you track and monitor program implementation. Make sure you implement your program with fidelity and with effectiveness. There's a fidelity checklist, and there's even a protocol to call parents if you want to call some parents, if you send out those parent flyers that I talked about. Parent flyers, just to give you a little peek at the parent flyer, there's the letter, and of course they differ a little bit between the high school, middle school, elementary school version, but each of them has a letter that you can co-sign or put your logo on or organization's name, and the flyer, which has an introduction, has a conclusion, but the core of the flyer is these health and fitness facts, and these are giving parents some sample things to very briefly comment to their youth about: positive behaviors, positive images, things that you're saying also during your SPORT or InShape program that you provide to youth. And we have it set up as a checklist for parents if they want to use it. Make sure they've mentioned these things to the kids and even hand the flyer to their sons or daughters to read. So that is the program manual. Do you have any questions about the program manual? The high school, the middle school, the elementary school SPORT, the InShape. I will say InShape is a little different because it has more content for the young adults. So there's more instruction in it. The screening survey is a little different because InShape addresses 2 types of physical activity, moderate and vigorous. And also it does assess their stress control habits, daily stress control habits. That's the InShape program. Let me show you the slides so you get a sense of how easy it is to implement your program with your following your script in your manual. You've got your manual, you glance down at it. If you practice it, it becomes almost memorized because it's so brief. And you can present this lesson to youth, again, individually or in a group, in person or online. I know most of you are hoping to do this in person, but this is set up so that you can implement it online if you have to. Let's hope not, but if you have to, it's all set up for you to do that easily. So here's your slides. This is the middle school version. Notice there's notes in the slides that are reminding you and instructing you, along with the notes and instructions in your manual. So just a couple of reminders. Of course, when you show your slides, you're going to want to, let me see here. You're going to want to open them up as large as possible like this. So there's your introductory slide. You can put your logo on this if you want, co-brand it. What's coming up? Well, it's going to cue both you and your youth that it's time for them to complete the health and fitness screening survey, and you hand it out and they have them complete it. Now, if you're implementing this online, you have options. This is one option. You could actually show your students the link online. They could click on the link and it goes to a screening survey in a document, and they can complete it online if they want to. You could also show these screening survey questions and have them complete one on a blank sheet of paper. But if you're implementing it in person, they're going to have the hard copy, so you can just go past these items here and go right on into feedback. So feedback is in the order of the items on the screening survey. So the first item is sports, physical activities. Did you play in the last year? Here are the benefits: feel good, fit, and healthy. Those are very positive image terms. Fun, lots of energy. And here's how alcohol and drugs interferes as a barrier and harms being able to be fit and active. Here's the second question: sports, physical activities, regular sports, physical activities, 30 minutes, 4 or 5 times a week, for example, riding, bike, running, walking. Here's the benefits. And now we've also integrated these discussion questions. You could pause because we want youth to think about their own lifestyle. This is how this influences them. This is how this motivates them. And here's the question related to sports or physical activities. What types of sports or other physical activities would you like to try or do more of? You're going to pause as an implementer. You're going to let them think about it, and then you could have some of the youth respond. And that's how you present your feedback. And it goes all the way through to where you finally recommend all of these behaviors to be fully well. Avoiding substance use, alcohol, drugs, but also engaging in these other healthy behaviors. And now complete a goal plan, and you hand out a goal plan. You've got a hard copy from your digital download. If you're implementing this online, no problems. You could have your youth click on this link and go to a goal plan and complete one online, or you can show these slides and have them complete one on a blank sheet of paper. So you got it covered either way. You can implement your program to one youth, to 2 or more youth, in person, online. Very, very doable, very flexible, very practical. Because this is just a single session, or you could expand it easily to 2 or 3, you can have full public health reach. You can reach all youth versus a more intensive or extended program, one that has 6 lessons or 10 lessons or 15 lessons. This program is designed to really reach all youth and have full public health reach and impact. Okay, that's the slides. I showed you the slides. I showed you the slides for the sport middle school program. I showed you the manual. The question is now, what else do you want to see? Do you have any questions, or was there anything that was unclear? Do you want to see any of the other programs? Sport for high school, for elementary school, InShape for young adults. Now's the time to let me know. Find your chat space, click on it, and send me your comments, your questions, your anything you want. Okay, I'm just going to wait to see if anybody wants anything else or has any questions or has any comments. Remember, I'm going to send everybody here a recording of this webinar and a certificate for 1 hour CEU. There's not going to be any PDF slides because these, the slides are actually the program themselves. But what you can do is you can ask for a sample of any of these programs, and I'll send you an e-sample, and you could review some more if you want to. So any of our programs you want to look at, any of our programs for youth, sport PPW, or InShape, which addresses alcohol, the marijuana PPW, vaping PPW, which addresses e-cigarettes, opioid PPW, Sport 2, which is 6 lessons, racial justice PPW, and any of our parent programs. We have parent programs that represent each of the youth programs as well. Any of these things you want to take a look at, I'm happy to send to you. Just request it at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Okay, I don't see, oh, here we go. If you did program in 3 sessions, how would you break that up? So that's a good question. A very good question. So let me, that's from L or I. L, looks like L. So, or maybe it's, okay. So you got some options here for expanding your program. For many organizations, what they'll do is they'll implement the sport lesson or whatever, PPW single session lesson. And then for another week or two, they'll just focus on the self-regulation piece. So for example, students come back the second week. How did your goals go? What did you achieve? What didn't you achieve? Where did you have success? Where did you fall short? Let's set goals for the next 7 days. And so the whole focus is on that self-regulation, setting, monitoring, and achieving goals and building on that initial week of success or turning things around in some cases. And setting goals, you know, week after week in an area so that, you know, that success is achieved in baby steps, if you will, or in achievable steps. And then so that over a month or two, the young person has really had some real success in their area of sleep or nutrition or stress control or whatever they want by setting multiple goals in that area. So for example, for sleep, they can set a goal to increase their sleep, the amount of sleep, to set a sleep, a time to go to sleep, to lock up or at least put away their electronic device, to ensure that their room is quiet and dark. So there's lots of goals, and each of these would be an individual weekly goal. So don't want to bite off more than you can chew, as you say. You want to just have an achievable goal and some success at the end of those 7 days. So that's one thing, focusing on self-regulation. Another thing is you can use the resources on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. Go to resources and check out the resources that we have. We've got web-based resources, which includes content, materials, things for students, for youth, as well as you and parents, which you are welcome to share with anybody, coaches, teachers, parents. And also, there's a healthy lifestyle guideline. So you'll find plenty of content on our website. Thirdly, is look into Sport 2. Sport 2 is a breakout of all of the individual behaviors into separate lessons. So Sport, whereas all of our other programs integrate all these behaviors together, substance use with the wellness behaviors, Sport 2 dissects them and has 3 separate lessons on 3 different types of physical activity, moderate, vigorous, and muscle strengthening. 2 separate lessons on nutrition, healthy nutrition and monitoring caloric intake, and a whole session on sleep/stress control. So those are your options. Focus on self-regulation, goal setting, go to our website, use some of our free resources, use Sport 2, or I would also say a lot of organizations will also implement some of our other programs, week 2 and week 3. So it's very common that they'll implement sport one week, depending on what their needs are and the risks are. It's very likely the vaping, the e-cigarette, second week, and marijuana the third week. Those are the 3 big substances of use and misuse among young people in that order: alcohol, which is addressed by sport, e-cigarettes, which is addressed by vaping, and marijuana, which is addressed by the marijuana PPW program. So, or opioids if you want to. So implementing a different version of a Prevention Plus Wellness program each week is also a very common strategy. So think about all of those strategies. I think all of those are open to you depending on what your budget looks like and what you're interested in and what you want to accomplish and achieve for your youth in your organization and region. So that was a great question. Any other questions or comments? Did anybody want to see anything? Oh, here's a Q&A. Let me see what that is. Dr. Wirch, for parents' lessons, are the same topics or are they different? So Trinidad, why don't you request a sample? I'll send you one of the parent program. The parent program is this. We have a parent program addressing most of our youth programs. So for example, there's a sport parent program, and it's a little bit different format. You get slides to train parents, and the slides are aimed at training parents to present the same positive behavior image communications at home that you're presenting with your sport lesson. And they also are given an opportunity and tools to present goal setting at home. So the parent programs are a very practical way for you to teach parents using the slides. Then you get instructors' directions, and then you get parent materials that you make copies for the parents so that they have the tools after you train them. Now, the training could be as short as an hour going through content, or you could expand it to 2 or 3 hours if you want to have parents practice some of these communication techniques with each other. So it's a very practical, brief training. You can get parents in for a single session that's relatively brief as compared to many parent programs, which are multi-session, which is so difficult to get busy parents to attend. So this is a great tool to use in addition to the programs that you're providing. Now, realize, of course, you already have a parent component in sport because you have the parent flyers, but we're talking about an actual parent training. And so you get the materials and the tools to train parents and give them extra materials so that they can take that home and present these communications and have youth do goal setting and give them the tools that you have when you have your sport program or your marijuana PPW program or your vaping PPW program. So you could actually do training, parent trainings in any of these areas. Sport, which addresses alcohol, or vaping PPW, or marijuana PPW, or opiate PPW, et cetera. So that's the parent program. That's what we have. Again, like all of our programs, very practical, efficient, and able to reach more parents, more youth than you would be able to in a more intensive or lengthier kind of program or training. Janet says, is it possible if you could put up the website and email so that we can request materials and resources? Sure, thank you for mentioning that. So here's the email. It's info at preventionpluswellness.com, and our website is preventionpluswellness.com. You could just put that in your browser and it'll pop up. The actual address is https:// but it's preventionpluswellness.com. You'll see it, it'll pop up and you can click on it. That's our website, and go to the menu and then go to resources, or you can learn more about the programs. We have a program tab, we have a training tab, resources, we have a blog, all kinds of good content on our page. We got a little mini video to give you an overview of PPW programs, really good information on our website. So thank you for asking for that. I appreciate that. Let's see, anything else anybody needs to ask or has any comments about? I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you for all of you that have logged in today. God bless you for what you do and making a difference in the lives of youth and families in your areas, throughout the country, throughout the world. And please let us know if we can help you in any way. do sign up because we have weekly free webinars, and do see if you can look at our materials a little bit closer to see if you can use some of our things. Okay, I don't see it. Okay, so let me help you with this. So if you go to our website, actually, you know what? I can pull it up for you. Let me show you. I'll actually show you how to do this. So this is not a problem. Okay, it just take a moment. So let me show you how to lock onto the material. So if you go to our website, this is it here, preventionpluswellness.com. You'll see this little annoying pop-up. Do drop your email in there so that you're on our email list. So here it is. Two things to highlight for you. Lower right-hand corner, see the blue thing says message us. If you click on that, you could message me anytime and ask me any questions or if you need any help. Upper left-hand corner, see the three lines on top of each other? That's the symbol for menu. If you click on that menu, boom, there it is. It opens up. You got home, programs, training, about us, resources, and news blog. So, by the way, if you go to the very bottom of our homepage, you'll also find out that there's our information there, both our phone number here, our email. You could read more about evidence-based registries that our programs are on, how our programs address national health education standards, how we provide minority, women, and veteran-owned small businesses with free programs. Check it out, preventionpluswellness.com. Okay, I think that's all we have time for. Let me just see. It looks like we may have one more question or comment. Thank you guys very much. Have a great afternoon, and thanks for joining us today. See you later, everybody. Take care. Stay in touch. Bye-bye.